Hi, hi everyone. I'm Shreya. I'm one of the co-founders of FlexiBees. Very happy to be here and thanks for joining us. I have with me Pankkaj Bhaandari, who's the founder of Mantra Gold, also known as Smart Creations. And Pankkaj, you can talk a little bit more about it when you are introducing Mantra Gold. Now, Pankkaj is somebody who we all at FlexiBees really admire and look up to. And when I read his story, I thought that there were lots of lessons, lots of learnings in it for entrepreneurs like us, especially in these times where we are all trying to make the best of the situation, but we are also preparing for tomorrow. But sometimes we do need a little bit of inspiration from somebody who's gone through it and come out stronger. So we hope this is an engaging session, and we'll talk about Pankaj's journey. So Pankaj, do you want to talk about Mantra Gold? Talk about what you do at Mantra Gold?
Yeah, Shreya, thanks for the introduction. In brief, definitely. Mantra Gold is where we go about beautifying home temples. Uh, Till about 2012, we were focusing in only beautifying temples and smart creations. But that's when an idea came and we started beautifying home temples. A whole lot of things which we learned from the fundamentals of how a temple is constructed, how the pujas are performed. Those kind of activities we got in terms of designing our puja room spaces. So we get some very beautiful idols made from artisans, which are handcrafted, which are gold plated and sold, variety of lamps, variety of decorative accessories. Today, a lot of people have been buying our products for gifting locally and internationally. So one of most prominent gift which got given from us was when the Chinese premier who came to Chennai near Mahabalipuram. There
Hmm.
was a big 5 feet, 24 karat gold plated Kutuvilak which was gifted by the PM to him. So for us, it was a great moment of pride and also a learning that our products can be, admired by the PM to be given to the premier of some other country. So that's
Yeah.
what we do at Mantra.
Oh, that's amazing. What a moment it must have been, Pankaj.
Absolutely, absolutely. Total delight.
Amazing. Okay, great. So I think then I'll move on to the crux of this discussion. So when I read your story, when we did a feature on Mantra Gold, there were a couple of points in your journey I found very interesting, and actually they form a big part of the reason why I feel that your story is so relevant in these times. So you spoke of, so I'll just maybe tell you what I thought, and you can talk about a little more. I think it'll be very useful for the audiences. You spoke of, going and doing a course in 2010. I think it was 2010, and an insight came to you, and that led to a big change that happened or that you drove in your company. Can you talk about that a little bit and how that change panned out for you?
Right. So till about 2010, uh, our major revenue was coming from what we were doing in terms of beautifying temples. We were creating golden temples and we were creating more like Tirupati structures in a lot of places down in South India, a bit in Patna and Bihar as well. So quite a bit of geographical locations. But how it used to happen was my revenue was, in large pockets over a period of time. There would be a month of March where we have a large collection from a temple because it was revenue driven. And then next 2, 3 months, probably we might not have something very big in terms of a project which we had. And but nevertheless, we had an internal commitment which was made to all my team members that on first of every month, my salary would be paid to you. How that was happening, I'm clueless, but we retained our commitment on that till the last month. So when I was sitting in the class of ISB and our accounts and finance professor was there, and he gave a very casual comment saying that in a growing concern, the cash flow needs to be consistent. So I was kind of intrigued by that statement, and in the breakout session, I went and I spoke to him, Professor, what did you mean that in a growing concern, you need to have a consistent flow? So he said, okay, explain to me what are you doing? So I explained him exactly the way I told you right now that we beautify temples and we don't get big projects every day. So, but once in 3 months, once in 6 months, we get a big project, and there's a big chunk of revenue coming in. And after that, it's meager revenue. So he says, "Are you a growing concern?" I said, "Yes. If I look at my balance sheets year on year, my balance sheet and my revenue has been expanding along with my bottom lines." So he said, "Now you're a growing concern, but you don't have a consistent cash flow. Do you understand what's happening?" I told, "No, that's what I want to understand." So he says, "Pankaj, there could be a possibility that when you don't have a consistent cash flow and one of the months down the line, probably the fourth month down the line, you might have a situation that you don't have revenues and you can't pay salary." He exactly mentioned the word salary. And I said, "Wait, I mean, here is my commitment to my people that I'll pay salary on first of every month. And you say there could be a possibility." He says, "Absolutely, because your cash flow is not consistent." And it hit me big time that I am risking not just the growth of my company, I am risking the payout to my people, which is something which was not acceptable. As a very young entrepreneur, which I got built up, I was seeing my father, and we have picked it up that we need to be paying our people on time. That was one of the core principles which we built on. So I said, "How do I go about doing it?" So he said, "Why don't you go about creating more footfalls to your businesses so that you get more smaller revenues into that model?" So then, coming back to Chennai, I started thinking once again, and I realized in the temple business, probably I might not be able to do it because the logistics is involved. Don't I work with these handicraft artisans, ask them to
I think
manufacture pieces for me?
Pankaj,
Yeah,
we
Shreya.
lost you for a couple of minutes. If you can just maybe repeat when you came
Okay.
down to Chennai and further on.
Chennai. I wanted to work quickly on the solution for the problem which got identified with this accounts professor. And I sat down thinking, and I realized most of my customers who used to give me gold plating of their home items were very beautiful. I said, "Why don't we start working with handicraft artisans, ask them to make these beautiful pieces for us, and we will in turn gold plate them or give them a very different look, and we can start selling them from our showroom place."
Hmm.
So here was the thought, and I wanted to implement that thought. And that's what we went about doing. That in 2011, we did a model launch. We launched ourselves in Madurai. They say
Hmm.
if you want to launch a product, Chennai is the toughest market. If you're
Hmm.
successful in Chennai, you can be successful anywhere in India. I said,
Hmm.
if I launch it and if I'm successful in Madurai, I'll be successful in Chennai as well. So we
Uh-huh.
launched in Madurai. We saw cash surpluses, and that was our start of the journey. In 2012, we launched our first retail outlet for selling of the products. Till that point of time, I was only doing services. Then we got into selling of product from 2012. So this is what my learning was.
Wonderful. I mean, it's so amazing to see that the germ of the idea came from something that you picked up in class. A lot of times we say that learning happens on the job, but I think if we keep our ears and eyes and ears open, then such amazing insights can come anywhere. It's so ironic that class seems to be the last place where one expects that one will get, a life-changing, learning, but you proved uh, the usual the thing that's supposed to happen in any case. Great, sounds amazing. I'm sure there are lots of things behind this also, which are very interesting to would be very interesting to know. For example, if you're doing a consumer business, then there is a marketing that comes with it. There is a certain kind of branding that comes with it. A lot of those things would have been new for you guys at that time. Was it tough, or was it something that very easily flowed from the equity you guys already had at Mantra Gold before that?
So to be very frank enough, and let me not antagonize any marketing professionals over here. For the starting part of it, It was extremely easy.
Mm.
Today, while I want to scale up my operations, I'm learning a lot of things, wanting to implement, but the starting was very easy. And I'll tell you why it was very easy. Uh, my customers
Mm.
were so happy with us for last 14 years. Like my first customer, which I did for retail gold plating, even today he's a customer of mine. I call him Srinivasan uncle, and
Mm.
he's proud of it. He every time he keeps introducing new customers to me, even today. So
Mm.
2012, when we first opened our showroom, and that was the first time I invited people to what Mantra can do. Uh, all these old customers of ours, my family, my relative, all our team members were there, and they made the marketing part of it so easily. Now I understand the power of referral because I've learned,
Mm.
I've studied. But
Yeah.
at that point of time, believe me, I didn't understand what referral marketing is. My customers were all the time working for me, and that's why the marketing was very easy,
Oh,
actually.
wow. Amazing. I mean, of course, that's the most, that's the best and the highest form of marketing that one can hope to achieve. Your
Yeah.
customers referring you. Yeah, we at FlexiBees also are very get very happy when our customers reference us, and those are the high value, high conversion leads also for us. They have a much higher chance of conversion because of the credibility that comes with it.
So true.
Amazing. The second one that I want to talk about is again I read in your story was when in I think in 2014, but correct me if I'm wrong, when you spoke of the business going through a hard time,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then how you got inspired by everybody else around you wanting to still keep going, and then you guys turned it around. So if you can talk a little bit about that, that would be extremely relevant to what a lot of us are facing today.
Probably I'll internally split in my mind two parts to this question because a lot of it had to do with one, a finance principle which I picked up, and two, the team which we picked up. So let me first talk about the finance principle and that part of journey. In 1998, when I started the business, to be very frank enough, I had no intention to be into industry marketing, retailing, and things like that. I wanted to become a stockbroker, to be very frank enough. I worked with the stockbroking company for about 3 years' time, and definitely we were ready to buy a card in Hyderabad Stock Exchange, believe me on that. But thanks to the harsh realities of stock market and my bad stomach to bite those realities, we took a decision way back in 96, 97 that I'll not enter the stock markets as a stockbroker or as an investor. And till date, I'm not directly investing in the stock markets.
Mm.
I promised myself I'll not do that. The only relationship I'll have with stock markets is whenever I hit a IPO for my market, and that's a relationship which I'll have.
Mm.
Uh, so what had happened was with the stock markets, and we were family business was into money lending, and
Mm.
we had a financial leverage, and we had borrowed money against our equity, and we were lending it out, and also we were investing in stock markets. The greed of earning more profits, especially when the market was losing, we had more and more of our money getting invested into the stock markets. And it came up to a point that we realized that our equities also got affected. So the
Mm.
entire of debt was actually written off and the equity was getting affected. And that was a very hard moment for me. And when I started my business, I borrowed money and I started business. Uh, what was so simply made to understand, and I talk to my young angels as they grow up, the difference between simple interest and compound interest. While theoretically I knew what simple interest and compound interest is, I experientially realized in 1998 onwards, because my dad had lent the money for me to start the business, and he borrowed it in turn on his goodwill.
Mm.
Uh, I have to pay him interest year on year, right? 31st March, and I have to pay him interest. And if I don't have the money to pay interest,
Mm.
what he would do is he will pass an entry in his journal books that so much of interest is outstanding. So probably what has started as 100 rupees, now at the end of the year was 112 rupees.
Mm.
Okay, so what he would do is he will pass an entry in his journal books break-even does not happen overnight. It takes a lot of time, so you keep borrowing for that. Then once
I mean,
break-in
we
happens,
again
you do
we again lost you for a bit. We heard till 112 rupees, and then we could.
112. Okay. So, so in a business, when we start a manufacturing concern, my journey was for the first few years, we're continuously running into losses. So for those losses itself, we were borrowing. Then
Mm,
there was a period of time where we were not running losses. We were having profits, but it was just break-even operations.
mm,
So break-in operations, I was not borrowing, but since I was not able to pay my interest and my capital, interest on interest was increasing. So somewhere in 2006, 2007 is when I realized this is going to be very difficult for me. So I learned this formula from my spiritual business coach. They said, and he very clearly explained to me, the financial formula of my life should be income minus savings is equal to expenses.
mm,
It is such a simple formula, but it took me 2 years to implement this formula. From 2006 to 2008, 2 years it took me to implement this formula.
mm,
So the way I understood it, whatever is coming in as revenue to me, I will park out 10% of my revenue into a separate account, into a separate kitty, so that from that 10% I'll start paying my principal. Because there's no way if not the principal can be paid.
mm,
And it simply didn't happen. Today, when I collected, let's say 10,000 rupees, at that point of time, 1,000 rupees here, who will create a separate account for 1,000 rupees? Let me do one thing. Over a period of a fortnight, I'll have about 2 lakh rupees collection, then let me deposit 20,000 rupees.
mm,
Believe me, that 20,000 rupees never happened because some urgency would come,
mm,
some extraordinary situation would come, and then that 20,000 will disappear.
mm,
Finally, what it came to was today's collection, 10%, just keep it aside.
mm,
And from 2008 onwards till 2010, I liquidated the entire debt which we had acquired.
mm,
And in 2010, I made myself a promise that I need to gift myself. It's so often that the entrepreneurs, they don't pay themselves salary. They
mm,
don't give themselves for the successes. And we need to celebrate our successes. So I wanted to gift myself. And what I wanted to gift myself was a study in a premier B school.
mm,
I didn't have an opportunity earlier, so I wanted to gift that. And my dad said, okay, are you very serious? I said, I'm absolutely serious of doing this. I applied, got qualified. There was a round of interview. And then my dad realized, looks like seriously you're going for your studies, man. Where is the capital for this? So I told dad, no mind. I'll borrow once again 20 lakh rupees to pay my fees. And I literally borrowed another 20 lakhs to pay for my fees. But then this was the secret of the formula: income minus savings is equal to expenses.
mm,
Why I wanted to bring out this was in 2014, whatever we had invested into our businesses was in terms of my physical infrastructure, my plant and machinery, and my inventory in my factory. And on 15 January 2014, uh, I get a news early in the morning at 5:36 that my entire factory is getting burnt out. And by the time we reached, we realized the entire thing got burnt out, and it got burnt out so badly that my inventory was all brass, copper, gold plated products. Even they got melted and they got formed as a lump.
oh my God.
Uh, my immediate thoughts, I still can remember my immediate thoughts as I was driving towards my factory. When I reached factory was, uh, my entire studies at ISB was just a preparation for me that something is probably going to go wrong and you be ready to enter the job markets. That was my thought, that I'll be ready to enter the job markets. But very fortunate for me, we have a practice of a prayer at 11:11 every day, even today. All of us come together, we huddle together, and we have a minute's prayer, a silence, and then a prayer. And even on that day, uh, when the fire extinguishers were actually trying to douse off the fire inside a plant, who over there who could make it to the factory, inside, they just all huddled together. Pankkaj, it's time for 11:11. Let's pray together. And we were praying even at that moment. And after the prayer, I remember it was a very emotional moment. And uh, one of our managers who still works with us, she came and she gave me a hug. She said, Pankaj, no matter what it takes, rebuild the business. It's okay if you don't pay us salary, but rebuild the business. We want you to rebuild this business. So this thought of, going back to the job market was on my mind. But looking at the way this manager of ours was crying, and all other managers in unison said, Pankaj, we are not bothered about what you're going to pay. If you want, we will also borrow money for you and we'll give it to you. But restart the business. And the entire timing changed. Uh, we set up our operations within about 1 week's time. We started our operations in gold plating operations with 5 buckets, exactly the way we started in 1998. My managers gave it to me as a gift for my wedding anniversary with my wife. And we started, of course, the overall plan took about another 2.5, 3 months. But that's when we realized that if I have a good customer, nothing to look back. If I have a good supplier, he'll stop everything else but to supply my plant. And if you have a good team, your directions can change. And my team actually made me change my direction. And that day we had to take a decision that we will have to do a new plant without any single paisa of capital once again in my kitty. But I had no fear in my mind. And that's where I wanted to bring the first story, because I knew the formula: income minus savings is equal to expenses. I'm repeating it again. Pardon me for that. But I wanted to nail it. One more person out there in the group gets this message. We went on to borrow more than about 2.5 crores from banks. We raised that capital without a hesitance whether we'll be able to pay, because I knew all other resources were just intact. And that was the turning point once again.
Pankaj, I don't have words. uh, this is just this is so good. This is gold, as how people say in today's parlance. It's so good. There's so much to take away from here, starting from the financial mantra, uh,
Good,
which
you gave me a tagline, finance mantra.
yeah, it's a very relevant one for entrepreneurs today, isn't it? Especially now that again there is another investment bubble. It's a very good one. And yeah, the experience and yeah, the support of your team just makes me tear up. I mean, even hearing you talk about it and how those moments must have been for you, or the entire 2.5, 3 months must have been for you guys. But yeah, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I guess you guys came out really strongly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the team and everything else. But great. I mean, I think this is exactly the sort of thing I was looking at, because it seems today to a lot of us that the world is burning, and of course that's happening on many different levels. And in today, people themselves are so affected. But businesses also maybe will be in a little bit of a better shape this year, perhaps being better prepared. But it's not an easy time. So how was COVID for you last year?
So, once again, I'll take a small detour, Shreya.
Sure.
Uh, you had a very interesting perspective when you said that sitting in the classroom, I learned something, right? Uh, for the kind of entrepreneur I am, and I'm talking about myself, and I am a wrong one. Let's take it that way. Uh, while running the operations, and it's a hands down running of the operation. I'm in the thick of every moment. I'm trying to be into all kind of activities. I never realized that I have time within my organization, within my working, to think about my business.
Mm.
We were only doing, we were not thinking. And why I'm trying to get it out over here is for the simple reason. 2020, believe me, I mean every word of it. And I'm extremely positive. My blood group is AB positive, so I have all the positives of the world. Uh, 2020, I've been telling to all my friends and relatives, that's the best thing which could have happened to most of us. My heart does reach out to people who were affected and who lost their lives. But I work for temples. I work in beautifying temple spaces. All my life as a child, when I grew up, one thing which was constantly reminded to me by my parents, my relatives, my friends, my spiritual guru is whatever is happening in my life has already been pre-decided. I'm just a participant to it. Let me take it in stride. And the situation around me, my family, I said that I
Lost you for a bit, Pankaj. I'm a participant in it, is the last that we heard.
okay. So every time when we are beautifying homes and temples, as I told you, the belief itself is he's playing his game and we are just playing our apan to katputli hai. I mean, that's a faith on which I've lived up. And the second thing is these moments also will pass away. So even the good ones and the bad ones both will pass away over time.
Hmm.
So since I built my life around that principle, it was very difficult for me to digest in 2020 that all of a sudden, with the news happening around me, why should I lose on my faith?
Hmm.
This was a time where I should be more focused on my faith rather than lose my faith.
Hmm.
And fortunately, I remained in my faith along with my family and my friends. The most beautiful time of my life in 2020 was, when last week of July and first 2 weeks of August, me and my entire family were COVID affected. But we had a blast. I heard it from my doctors, I heard it from my spiritual guru that in a COVID attack, the first thing is you should minimize on your stress, be stress free. Now, how do you be stress free?
Hmm.
So, the way I was being made to understand was if you're going to take a stress on your body, it is going to affect directly your lungs and chest. If you're going to be free from stress, you are going to be breathing in more of oxygen. So, moment we had COVID into our house, I was the leader of my house once again because I got the COVID once again first. And my wife is a good singer. My daughters are good singers. They play great piano, great guitar. They are good dancers. For 3 weeks, constantly, we were singing, dancing, playing games, and watching TV. The most beautiful time I had with my young angels, 19 and 21. I never had so much of time with them as they grew up, but these 3 weeks, fantastic. In the lockdown, the amount of time which I got in terms of re-looking at my business strategies was something phenomenal for me to understand. So much of thoughts, so much of points to work on.
Hmm.
And I distinctly believe it's not just me, to whomever I was able to speak to, most of those friends, relatives happen to be saying this thing consistent.
Hmm.
A lot of our time is getting invested in repivoting or in
Hmm.
pivoting our exercises. And if Indians, who are generally known to be more intelligent as a community, if we start pivoting, look at the results of Indian companies from 23, 24 onwards. We are going on a different tangent of growth, is what I believe. And that's what I predict as well. So in 20, what we did was I realized my temple business will be massively affected
Hmm.
because the majority of my temple revenue will come from donors who want to, beautify temples.
Hmm.
Now, when the donor's business itself is not doing good, how is he going to contribute to temples?
Hmm.
Plus, if you need to do temple related work, these are accompanied with public functions.
Hmm.
There's no way that we are going to have public functions. So we were very clear temple revenue is going to be badly hit. It was hit almost 80%.
Hmm.
My other side of business, which was retail, Mantra Gold, which we're talking, is about beautifying home temples, gifting. First 4 months were badly affected, but the balance 8 months, if you look at
Hmm.
month on month revenue, my customers came in by the hour to buy the products, give the services. Because you know what they were saying? These were the moments where we were sitting in our prayer spaces. We were more closer to our God, and we want to beautify those spaces even further. And those 8 months of revenue was fantastic for us. But very early, we decided even that is not going to help. In 2014, when we were doing reconstruction of our factory, just to take care of our obligations to pay interest and principal for the loan which we borrowed of 2.5 crores, we started a new division called industrial coatings, where we were doing gold plating and silver plating for electrical and electronic customers. Till 2014, we were known for our quality of gold plating with temples and home spaces. Nobody can question me on the ethics of how much gold I've deposited or I've not deposited. With this sheer confidence, we entered into a line and a segment where we had no customer. But today we boast about some of the best connected industry in the world working with me. I work with the best space company of India. I work with some extremely critical applications of ISRO or customized batteries for defense. None of the segment, if you ask me literally, I don't understand. It's my team which understands. But what we delivered was what we know the best, silver and gold rating.
Mm.
So we added this division because this division was giving me consistent cash flows even better than retail. Margins could be bad, but what was important in 2020 was the
Yeah.
cash should keep coming in to take care of my suppliers and take care of my people.
Yeah.
So we expanded that business revenue by 100%. In spite of overall balance sheet being down by 50%, we had no failure in commitment of a payment to suppliers to my people. And that was a huge learning for me for 2020.
Wow. Another pivot, another new line of business, and
Yeah,
a very successful one. Yeah. And again, rooted in, I think, financial prudence.
probably
Amazing.
that helped.
Huh? Sorry?
That helped me. That financial prudence, the finance mantra, as you said.
Yeah. 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 And must not have been easy. I mean, again, this is, like you said, a space that you guys didn't know at all. So, how did you go about getting your first client just out of curiosity?
So I learned the concept of design thinking very recently, but I didn't realize that this was always a part of a company's growth. So there in 2014, when we started this new operation, there was one neighboring company of ours. They were wanting some stainless steel nuts to be silver plated. So even before our fire in 2013, they started the sample lot of it. So they gave me this nuts need to be silver plated. I told, okay, that's possible. I was wondering why somebody would do a stainless steel nut with silver plating. That naive we were. And then we were made to understand that it has some lubricating property, it has anti-gailing properties and things like that. And all the way, the stainless steel nuts used to move out from Chennai to Mumbai for plating and coming back. So this neighbor of mine was saying, if you solve this problem for me, I'll pay you a premium what I'm paying from Mumbai. Because I need a quality supplier. I need it just on time principle kind of product.
Mm.
And all that language we understood. Only thing we didn't understand the anti-gailing and lubricating property, but
Mm.
we understood this. So we started doing for him. In 2014, moment this incident happened, we approached him. That sir, the initial samples which we did, the initial lots we did, how were they? They said fantastic.
Mm.
We have got fantastic reviews from our customers that this has been the best lot. So we are going to support and we are expanding our capacity by 50%. You expand your capacity to do that. So we acquired our first customer not by analysis, not by doing anything dramatic. We just had our ears to our customers.
Yeah.
I think that's what design thinking is all about ultimately.
Amazing. Amazing. You seize the opportunity. You seize the day.
Yes.
Nothing better.
And we kept on adding from the referral market, and more customers started looking at us that can you do this for us? Can you do that for us? So today we have about 8, 9 customers. I guess because of dedication by my team to approach some new customers and referral of my existing industrial
Mm.
customers, we have about 10, 12 customers today doing that.
Great. And so last year was around the time. So you said you grew the business by 100%, the industrial coating business. Last year was the time also that you started, I think, hiring from FlexiBees. So
Yeah,
if if I may plug in a little bit here, how has the experience been with FlexiBees?
it's been phenomenal. We already have on our team 5 people from your group. The first time we spoke, we had probably 2. We have already hired more 3. We have 5. Uh, so there was one constant thing which we were doing. Like we started with a mindset when we were hiring people long before. Uh, my dad was saying, किसी को 10,000 की तनख्वाह दे देंगे तो वो ऐसा क्या काम कर सकता है जो अपन नहीं कर सकते हैं. That was the start. And when we had a first professional manager and we said, Dad, we are free to think, वो और काम कर सकता है. So starting to work with professional managers started 2020, and we were desiring to grow into retail space, and we realized one thing very quickly, that we will have to get proactive with our marketing. Till now we were only reactive. Even now we are reactive, but now the attempt has already been made to be proactive. How do we get proactive? We need to do telecalling. We need to be touching with our customers and things like that. Okay. So we started doing that in the discussion, and all my team members said that Pankaj, we'll call up, we'll do this, we'll do this. But then I realized it was not happening.
Mm.
We were all getting caught up with our own activities. It was same Pankaj which I was seeing in my other managers. We are getting caught up in our own activities. So then we said, you know what, this is never going to happen. Let's see, let's hire some people from outside. And I remember so nicely, I was in touch with Neti from your team.
Mm.
And Neti, the first time when she gave me a proposal and she said, Pankaj, this is the proposal. And I said, part-time working from home, particular part of it, why it should be more expensive.
Pankaj, we lost you at that very key juncture where you were talking about part-time and working from home. And
Part-time and working from home, right? So I was still not convinced about the total investment which we are doing into it. So Neti came up with a very nice idea and she brought it out so beautifully. Pankaj, how does it matter कि work from home hai kya hai? Tell me actually, your people who are working with you, for how many hours in a day are they working? So I said, see, they are clocking in 9 hours. Out of 9 hours, I know it is 8 hours, and out of 8 hours, productivity working would be, let's say, anywhere close to 4 to 5 hours. So Neti said, Pankaj, I am straight away giving you an offer of a person who will dedicatedly, productively work for 5 hours at this salary. Why don't you try one candidate? And I said, yeah, actually speaking, that's right. Because I had done my own time chart and I realized even though I can claim I'm working for 10 hours, but productively I was working only for 3.5 hours. I'd done a time chart for myself. So I told,
Mm.
okay, you know what, we should try with FlexiBees. And we had our first candidate. Her name is Revati. Never met her, spoken to quite often. And we call her the Power Angel team head today. These are all my Power
Mm.
Girls, sorry, Power Girls team. Super performance. Like 3 rank on productivity, 5 hours of productivity, spoke of 5 hours of productivity. And we are seeing the conversion of our business happening from telecalling. And that's what gave us the confidence that what Nethi said, just try one candidate, and we are already with 5 people.
Mm.
In fact, we just started with one person, Devu, yesterday. She's getting to be my virtual assistant. I was from a point where I'm visualizing how I can work with somebody who's not around us to somebody assisting not besides us.
Ah.
It's a very lovely journey.
So great to hear, Pankaj. This is the favorite journey. This journey of a little bit of skepticism, and because yeah, honestly, this is so different from what we've been used to. A little bit of skepticism to a realization through personal experience that part time and work from home works and works beautifully. It's so amazing to hear. It's I think a lot of the people from our teams are also watching or going to be watching this, and it just makes I think us feel that we are doing something right here. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. You guys are doing a great job. I would have at least referred about 8 to 11 people till now, sharing them your websites. And when they're keen, probably shared the number of Neti directly so that they can have an interaction and then they can take it forward.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. Invaluable. Okay,
Okay.
and now coming to the last question that I have from my end, is, which is for entrepreneurs who are going to be watching this or who are watching this. What would you say are the most important things to keep in mind as per you and from your experiences?
Uh, from my experience, I would only say two things. One is be open to listen to your customers. They are giving you ideas all the time. It's just most of the time I have kept my ears closed and I have not picked the idea. So be open to what customers are saying always. We will not have obstacles in our growth. Uh, Number two, uh, while we are all focused towards happy customers, delighted customers, brand promoting customers, no matter what we say is least about them, that has to be equated by brand promoting team members. So this balance is so damn important. Uh, in my case, if not for my team, probably I would have been working with some other organization.
Hmm.
So balance of this customers and my internal customers, as we all call, is so important, and that's what the message I want to leave with them.
And the second one is something that I think I'm pretty much hearing it being framed this way for the first time. It's the first one. I feel like I've switched off my video, everyone, because there was a little bit of an internet disturbance. But I'll put it on. The first one, I feel like your entire journey is testament to that. I mean, I can't think of another person who's so well qualified to give that advice. To reinvent themselves and be open to reinvention as well as open to what others are and your customers specifically are saying to you. Yeah, it's so much a core, an essence of what you built. The second one is a brilliant thought. It's something that like I said, it's novel. It's a novel way of framing it. Gives me food for thought. Brilliant.
Thanks, Shreya.
Great. I think we can close our conversation here, and would be very happy to take any questions here on from the attendees if there are any. So you are present in multiple geographies. You have showrooms in multiple geographies today, right, Pankaj?
No, we have two in Chennai and one attempt in Hyderabad, which is a sample model which we have created. And with FlexiBees together, we'll take it to multiple cities.
Oh, wonderful. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so Deepa has a question. What are some go-to habits that you have to sustain mental strength at turbulent times?
Uh, I think it's a very difficult question because the entire concept of mental strength comes from how you have, experienced your life from your childhood. In my case, the entire mental strength was built up on what were teachings from my parents, from my teachers, from my loved ones, and my spiritual guru as well. And that's how you build muscles, right? It's not like
Hmm.
overnight
Hmm.
you have taken something. You need to build your muscles, and it's been so
Hmm.
conscious. And uh, when we are getting tested,
Hmm.
those are the times where the muscles actually show up. That are you willing to be torn apart, or you have the courage to fight it out?
Hmm.
Uh, but I think the biggest comes from your inner circle. The entire
Hmm.
mental strength game itself is from your inner circle of your family, your friends, and your team working along with you. So one thing which I realized might not be bookish. I heard it from my guru, but I am experiencing in my life. Having a happy woman in your life is very important. Uh, I don't have a brother, so my two sisters and my mom, they've been happy, made me happy, and that builds on your mental strength. Because what breaks in your mental strength, on the contrary, stress, disturbance. So when a woman is happy, the happiness is to a different level. Got married with two young daughters. Uh, then I have more bhanjis than bhanjas. So once again, you have women all over. Uh, got married to a family where I have salis. So once again, it is an extension of happy woman in my life. And in the team around, every time we are very excited to be having a woman team member. Here, once again, it's a matter of faith. Like I work with a lot of handicraft artisans, and I really get disturbed to see that handicraft artisans, for their talent, do earn money. And I have absolute respect for them earning the money because only when they work with hand, they earn the money. But the pain point is quite often I've seen in the market that the money which they earn is not taken back to the families. It's
Hmm.
not given to the woman of the house. It's not given to the children of the house for their growth. It's spent on the vices. But a money given to a woman is totally used for her personal growth or for the family. Now, that is something huge, which I always have in my mind. And whenever we take on board a woman, it is a super exciting thing for us because we know the entire money is going to be used uh, uh, very effectively. And I have this concept of happy money. I keep telling my boys always, I keep telling my girls always that every money which we have earned on Mantra's balance sheet, on Smart Creation balance sheet, is coming from a prayer space or it's coming from a temple space. That money which is offered out over there is out of a lot of happiness. And that happy money, when it is reaching my account and I am giving it back happily to you, you better utilize it for the best reasons and don't be mischievous with that money because it's not going to do good for you. Women simply do that, simply implement that so effectively. And that's why I'm so excited with FlexiBees, to be very frank enough. It's women working with us, happily working with us.
Again, I'm rendered speechless, Pankaj. And I think I must pat myself on the back for recognizing that you have so many deep and profound, words of wisdom to share with the world. I just wish that this a lot of what you've said reaches as many people as possible. I think everybody would benefit from hearing what you have to say, and with so much clarity of thinking, so much heart, so that you've built your business. Very. I think I enjoyed this 1 hour a lot. Uh,
Thanks, Shreya.
yeah. Oh, okay. There is a question from our deputy CFO, the money manager at our end. When we believe everything is predestined, does that not become an excuse for procrastination or complacency? Then how do you motivate yourself to action?
Um, Very true. And that's why most of us are affected in our lives, where predestination and things like that with this concept. Even I spoke to you about that. But that's where I like our Indian mythologies as well. While we believe in the theory of karma, which is basically what I'm trying to say out over here, we also believe in what Bhagavad Gita says, right? Krishna always says, keep working on your actions. It's just that you don't work on the fruits of your action. So you have to counter it. You have to counter your faith and belief with one more, which is given to you in our scriptures. No other scriptures would do it that way. No other philosophy would do it, but our Indian philosophy does it that way.
Mm,
So I still keep on doing my actions. Only thing, I should not be bothered about what will
mm,
be the result of my action. That
mm,
I will still leave it to fate.
mm.
But the responsibility of action is 100% mine, nobody else's.
Right. It's a balance of internal and external, and that ultimately determines the output.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Very nice having you here, Pankaj. It was very illuminating and very inspiring for us. Thank you for taking the time out from your day to come here and speak with us. And looking forward to Mantra Gold growing, into going into every corner of the country and outside of the country. And we would love to be on this journey with you. Thank you.
We will. Thank you so much for your wishes.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks,
Bye
guys,
bye.
for attending.
Yeah.